This week's set of weekly vocabulary is going to hit our test terms part 5, list of vocabulary terms, covering things that can and will appear on tests that you take throughout your life. Let's start with our weekly word list, starting with word number 1, conclusion, 2, consistent, 3, reflect, 4, argument, 5, claim, 6, evidence, 7, criticize, 8, demonstrate, 9, illustrate, 10, confirm. You'll see some of the words this week are words that would appear in something like argumentative writing, doing an argumentative essay, or having some sort of a debate. Let's go ahead and get started with our words with term number 1. Term number 1 is conclusion. The definition of conclusion is a position or opinion reached after some consideration. This would work for a few different definitions you would have with the word, and you're going to see different types of conclusions on different tests that you take. If the test mentions an argument's or a passage's one and only conclusion, it's probably referring to the final paragraph of a passage you're reading. If you see this word in its plural form, as in conclusions, it usually indicates the logical positions or opinions you can draw from an argument. So again, you might see a conclusion at the end of a passage that you're reading, or you may need to write a conclusion to finish off your essay. You can also draw conclusions or come up with your own points or ideas from reading things and determining their meaning after some consideration, like our definition says. Term number 2 is consistent. The definition is in agreement or reliable. Something consistent is in agreement with something else. If you're asked to identify a written statement that is consistent with data being presented graphically, you need to find a statement from the text that agrees with that data. You want things to match up and to stay the same. If you are a consistent person, you're reliable. You're going to be there for people. If you're trying to find consistent data, you want data that matches up with your expectations. The next term that you might see on a test or after a test is term number 3, reflect. Reflect's definition is to manifest or indicate. If a word choice or example reflects a particular idea, it supports or agrees with that idea. Thinking about how a mirror reflects an image may help you remember the meaning of this word. Another meaning of reflect is to think about something more deeply in a passage a writer might reflect on a certain topic in. And this is probably the term for reflect that you're most going to need to know. Usually, if you're asked in a test or after reading something to reflect on it, you're asked to think more deeply. You're asked to analyze that passage. This is one my students are talking about a lot. Term number 4 is argument. An argument is an assertion offered as evidence that something is true. An argument is a text or reading passage that advances a claim and supports that claim with evidence, as another definition of that. You can have an argument between people in real life, discussing two sides of an issue with people on each side of that argument. You can also have it in an essay format, which is what you'll probably run into on a test. You'll need to state a claim, prove that claim with reasons, and back those reasons up with evidence in order for your argument to be solid. That brings us to term number 5, claim. If you state a claim, you're saying that something is true, factual, or that you're sticking behind it and you're staying on that side. On most tests, claim likely refers to an author's main argument, the position that they're taking in an argument, what the writer is trying to persuade you to believe. There could be more than one claim in an argument, but the reading passages on most tests likely have one central or main claim that is supported by different reasons and evidence to back it up. Term number 6 refers to that evidence. Evidence means by which an alleged matter is established or disproved. So to put that another way, evidence is not just the stuff you collect at a crime scene, although it can be that stuff. On most tests, textual evidence, or things that you're going to read, is information that supports an argument's central claim. It could take the form of examples, statistics, facts, data, etc. Evidence is what you use to back up the reasons that you're using to support your claim. If I say that students who have recess every day do better on their schoolwork, I better have actual evidence to back that up. There may be studies that I can pull data and statistics from that prove that students who have recess every day actually do better on things like standardized tests. Term number 7 is criticize. To criticize is to find fault with, to point out real or perceived flaws. To criticize is to be critical, To pick something apart and to identify its weak points. This is definitely a verb with negative connotation. If an author is out to criticize, chances are he or she is using strong, harsh language. When they say picking it apart, they're looking for things that they think are wrong, things that they can tear down. There's different types of criticizing. When we think of criticizing, we're also often thinking of people like criticizing others, pointing out flaws in other people. But to be critical doesn't necessarily have to be bad. You could just be criticizing something that somebody wrote in a paper, but doing so in a way where you're just trying to help them out or show them something that they can fix or make better, or demonstrating ways that they can fix that. Term number 8 is demonstrate, and it means to show the validity of something as by example or explanation. To demonstrate is to show. The purpose of a passage could be to demonstrate a concept or a character trait. The purpose of a chart could be to demonstrate that a scientist's data supports their hypothesis. Another word that is used often in a similar way that we'll look at is illustrate. Think of them as meaning to show, or to get something out there that you want others to see. Term number 9 is illustrate. To illustrate something is to make it clear or understandable by giving an example. Say that you're incredibly stumped on a math question and you cannot understand how to do it. It may be helpful to go to a teacher and have them illustrate or show you how to do that question on a board or on a computer or something like that, walking you through step by step and illustrating how each of those parts are completed. To illustrate is to show, it's to demonstrate, it's to give an example to make something more understandable. Term number 10 is confirm. To confirm is to establish or strengthen, as with new evidence or facts. When you confirm something, you prove it to be true. For example, the results of an experiment could confirm a hypothesis. You had an idea that you think is correct, so you test it over and over and over again, and you confirm that your hypothesis is true. You might have an appointment at a doctor or dentist or something, and they might call you and say, "Can you confirm that you'll be there?" And if you say, "Yes, I can be there," you've confirmed your appointment. Go back and look through those words, definitions, and the examples given, and you'll be better prepared to see these words on any of the tests you may take in your everyday life. Let me know if you have questions, and good luck.